Before Rosa Parks became the face of bus desegregation in America, a 15-year-old girl had already taken the same stand. Her name was Claudette Colvin. She was arrested, charged, and removed from a segregated bus months before the event that would spark a national movement. So why isn't her name just as widely known? To understand Claudette Colvin's story, you have to understand the system she challenged. In the mid-20th century, the American South operated under what were known as Jim Crow laws. These laws enforced racial segregation in public spaces, including buses. In cities like Montgomery, black passengers were required to sit at the back of buses and give up their seats to white passengers if the front section filled up. This was not just a social norm, it was legally enforced. Claudette Colvin was born in 1939 and grew up in Montgomery. She was a high school student with a strong interest in history and civic rights. Her education exposed her to black leaders and abolitionists such as Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth, whose stories would later influence her actions. At the time, civil rights activism was growing, but open resistance, especially from young people, was still rare and dangerous. On March the 2nd, 1955, Claudette Colvin boarded a bus after school. She sat in the section designed for black passengers. As the bus became crowded, the driver ordered several black riders, including Colvin, to give up their seats for a white passenger. 3 passengers complied. Colvin did not. She later explained that she felt it was her constitutional right to remain seated. Police was called. She was forcibly removed from the bus, arrested, and taken into custody. At just 15 years old, she was charged with violating segregation laws, disturbing the peace, and assaulting a police officer. Although her case was significant, it did not immediately lead to widespread protests. Civil rights leaders at the time, including members of the NAACP, carefully considered how to challenge segregation in court. They believed that a person representing such a case needed to be seen as beyond reproach in the public eye. Colvin's age, background, and later personal circumstances, including becoming pregnant as a teenager, were viewed as potential obstacles. As a result, her case was not used as a central legal challenge against bus segregation. 9 months later, on December the 1st, 1955, Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a Montgomery bus. Her arrest became the catalyst for the Montgomery bus boycott. This boycott lasted over a year and drew national attention to segregation. Rosa Parks was chosen in part because she was seen as a strong and stable figure who could unify support for the movement. Despite being overlooked in the public narrative, Claudette Colvin played a crucial role in ending bus segregation. She became one of the key plaintiffs in Brother v. Gaines This federal case challenged the constitutionality of bus segregation in Montgomery. In 1956, the court ruled that segregation on public buses was unconstitutional. This decision effectively ended the Montgomery bus boycott and marked a major victory in the civil rights movement. Colvin's testimony was part of the legal foundation that made this outcome possible. For many years, Claudette Colvin's role in history remained largely unrecognized. She later moved to New York and lived a private life, working as a nurse aide. In recent decades, historians and scholars have revisited her story, acknowledging her early act of resistance and her contribution to civil rights. Claudette Colvin did not set out to become a symbol, but at 15 years old, she made a decision that challenged an unjust system. Her story is a reminder that history is not only shaped by those we remember, but also by those we nearly forgot.